Welcome back to The Explainer. So set the scene with me for a second. Imagine the serene backdrop of Tusita Heaven. That's the transcendent realm where the absolutely majestic classical text we're decoding today, the Yogacara Bhumi Sastra, was actually spoken by Maitreya Bodhisattva and later translated by the legendary monk Xuanzang. Today, we're taking a really fascinating journey straight into the 90th fascicle of this text to uncover the true architecture of karma.
But before we jump into the ancient philosophy, think about this for a second. Is a fleeting angry thought in your mind really as karmically heavy as a deliberate physical action? You know, we hear the word karma thrown around in pop culture all the time, usually as some sort of cosmic revenge or just a vague sense of destiny. But is it really that simple? How does the universe actually weigh what we do? Well, as you'll see by the end of this explainer, karma is definitely not just blind fate. It's actually a highly logical, incredibly precise psychological system.
Okay, so here's our roadmap for today. We're going to quickly cover the true face of karma, how it's classified, the difference between heavy and light karma, the 3 factors that decide that weight, and finally, ultimate liberation. Let's get right into it.
Part 1. The true face of karma. The fundamental thing to grasp right out of the gate is that in this text, karma isn't just some mysterious force. It's a rigorous cosmic science. It is a highly structured law of cause and effect. Literally every single action you take leaves a trace, like a seed that's just waiting to sprout when the conditions are just right. The text grounds us immediately with this absolute scriptural truth. There are 2 types of karma. One is heavy karma, the other is light karma. It's a simple distinction, but it means that not all actions are created equal in the eyes of the universe. There's a very distinct scale, a true measurement of impact, and honestly, understanding this scale is the ultimate key to mastering our own minds and our destinies.
Moving on to part 2, multiple classifications of karma. The source text here is unbelievably thorough. It methodically categorizes literally every type of action a human being can possibly take. It essentially breaks karma down into this massive, multidimensional matrix. So, morally speaking, is the action good, bad, or neutral? Then there's the timeline. Is the fruit of that action going to ripen in your present life, your next life, or a later life? On top of that, it divides actions into intentional versus unintentional and definite versus indefinite. It is a completely comprehensive map of human existence. And when the text synthesizes all those elements together, you get 4 ultimate paths. First, you've got black karma, which leads to the pure suffering of the hell realms. Then, white karma, which leads to those serene heavenly realms. After that is black-white karma, which is basically our human experience, right? A mixed bag of joy and sorrow. But the 4th category, neither black nor white, now that is the absolute spiritual game changer. This is the karma that completely breaks the dualistic cycle altogether. And we'll dive way deeper into that concept toward the end of the explainer. Which brings us to part 3, judging heavy and light karma. We know actions are categorized, but what exactly dictates their actual weight? Like, why does one little lie pass by like a breeze, while another completely anchors your soul to suffering?
Well, the defining line is actually really clear. Heavy karma is intentional, and it leads to a definite consequence. It's premeditated. Light karma, on the other hand, is unintentional and indefinite. So look, if you do something messed up in a dream, or completely by accident, or even if you genuinely correct a mistake right after you make it, you aren't eternally doomed. The universe doesn't punish a simple misstep or a subconscious dream with crushing, inescapable weight.
All right, part 4, 3 factors deciding weight. This is absolutely crucial. How do we know when an intentional action crosses that threshold and becomes truly undeniably heavy?
You see, an action isn't just heavy on its own. To create a massive karmic consequence, 3 specific conditions have to perfectly align: intention, action, and the field. Every single time you make a choice, these 3 elements interact to determine the true cosmic scale of your behavior. Let's unpack each one of these because they are fascinating.
The first factor is intention, but the text goes way beyond just doing something on purpose. A truly heavy intention is a mindset driven by fierce, overwhelming passion. It's when you perform an act and then you actively rejoice in it afterward. You continuously dwell on it, feeding it. A mind that's obsessed with and taking joy in a negative action acts just like a magnifying glass in the sun. It concentrates the energy and creates a massive burning karmic footprint. The second factor is the action itself. An action becomes overwhelmingly heavy when it's performed repeatedly and earnestly over a long period of time.
And it gets even worse. If you rally a community around a negative action and actually praise others for joining in, your personal karmic weight multiplies. Repetition and social encouragement are literally the ultimate amplifiers of karma.
And then we have the third factor, which is perhaps the most profound: the field. Think of this as the philosophical soil where your karmic seeds are planted, the actual recipient of your action. Who are you directing this behavior toward? The text highlights two specific groups that make a field incredibly powerful: people who have shown us immense kindness, like our parents, and people who are established in right conduct, like saints or profoundly moral teachers.
Think about it like gardening. If you plant the seed in ordinary, barren dirt, you get a pretty weak impact. But if you plant a negative seed in a powerful field, like say turning against someone who sacrificed everything to help you, the harvest is absolutely devastating. It is infinitely heavier. But conversely, a really small act of genuine kindness directed toward a powerful field yields an incredibly massive positive result. The recipient matters just as much as the act itself.
All right, final section, part 5, ultimate liberation. Because honestly, if we just stop at trying to collect a bunch of good karma, we're completely missing the transcendent point of the Yogacarava Bhumi Sastra.
Remember that fourth category we talked about earlier, neither black nor white? The text is totally explicit here. Being perfectly good just to end up in some temporary heavenly realm is not the absolute end goal. The true objective is pure, unattached action that exhausts all previous karma, leading directly to nirvana. It's essentially the karma that ends the need for karma.
So, how do we actually pull that off? By using profound wisdom to systematically dismantle the very seeds of future karma. This means actively cultivating correct views, diligently practicing the Noble Eightfold Path, and ultimately attaining the profound wisdom of non-self. When you act without the ego, without that deep-seated sticky attachment to I and mine, you stop planting seeds in the cycle of suffering altogether. You're operating purely from a place of wisdom and compassion.
So let's bring this right back to the reality of your everyday life. The exact weight of your reality is being shaped right now by the depth of your intention, the repetition of your actions, and the field in which you choose to plant them. Knowing this majestic architecture, the rules of the game, what kind of seeds are you going to plant next? Let this framework illuminate the choices you make today. Catch you next time.